Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today for the second episode of Conversations with the Stars. Last time, my guest was Fiona Robertson, but you know what? Let me start with introducing myself. I was just jumping right in. My name is Millen Livis. I'm a financial empowerment mentor for women who want to make their money work for them. So if you're thinking about becoming financially independent, financially free, I'm the gal to contact. All right. Again, my name is Millen Livis, and I'm also host of the series Conversations with the Star. And today, my beautiful guest is Fiona Robertson, who is a body renewer. So here she is. Hi, Fiona. How are you today?
Hello again, Millen. Thank you very much for having me back.
So, Fiona, last time, this is our second part of the interview with you. So the last time we spoke with you, last week, it was very interesting when you shared actually 3 elements that you believe contribute to women who have challenges with gaining weight and not being able to lose it. So I recall you mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong, you mentioned one aspect of this issue is stress. You know, stress contributes to everything, including gaining weight. The second aspect was mentality of scarcity or mindset of scarcity. And this is so interesting because, again, I see so many similarities with issues around money versus, issues with gaining weight and having extra weight. So it was very interesting to hear this second element from you, who helps women to, or people, not only women, to lose weight, to get rid of fat accumulated in the cells, and especially in the belly area. So, and the second element that I remember you mentioned was this sense of stuckness, when you don't move, when you don't, not only physically being active, but also kind of like being stationary even in your mind, right? Not being afraid to change anything in your life, etc., etc. So I remember this. Did I recall these elements correctly? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Definitely, those are the 3 elements that I would put under the envelope of stress. Those are all things that are having like a mental and emotional effect on you physically. Clearly, that's a big one. You know, anything that stresses us out, our body automatically goes into the metaphysical state where she's actually protecting us. Usually because what she's doing is our bodies are going into the fight and flight stage when we're stressed. And if we're feeling sensitive about what's going on, it could be the people around us, it could be a lot of deadlines, it could be a lot to do in our family. All this has a huge effect on us mentally, and we're carrying a lot of it around with us on our shoulders. Especially as women, we carry a lot because we try and multitask, and we do so much all the time. So I talk an awful lot, and I help an awful lot of women through the stress that they don't even know that they have, Millen. Most people have got no idea how much stress or how their mental thoughts are actually affecting them on a physical level. And that's just one of the aspects that is influencing you on a physical level. Of course, I can talk about nutrition. Of course, I can talk about exercise. But there's no point doing any of that if 99% of what's influencing your body is coming from stress. And if you can't get rid of that, you're in a downward spiral of depression. You're in a downward spiral of all sorts of things. And a woman needs to build up her boundaries. She needs to feel good about herself. And that has to be a priority, really. And not only to mention, a lot of the women that I deal with, they have a whole range of symptoms because of the hormones that are going on in a woman's body and how that's all affected, to do with cortisol running rife in their body because they are stressed all the time. So I talk an awful lot about the hormonal effect on the body, and it's causing a lot of chemical changes within your body that it's not your fault, but I can teach you how to release that and to let that go and turn your body into a body that actually starts to use the fat that you've stored rather than keeping on filling up with emotional foods. And most of the time, for all of us, we are all sugar addicts. It is carbohydrate, it is wine, it is all those things that socially are acceptable. But for a certain body code of a woman, those things do not work at all. I certainly was a vegan, raw food, health junkie, and I couldn't understand what was going on. And because my metabolism had bottomed out and my hormones were running rife because I was stressed about this or stressed about that, or partners, separating with partners, living in France, trying to be a single mum, run a business, huge amounts of stress. Yeah, and when somebody said to me, "My God, Fiona, how much are you dealing with?" I'm just like, well, it's normal. And I didn't realize how much stress I was in. I think I said the story last week about just walking into the post office, and I thought, oh, I'm going to just test out what my stress level's like. I was at a 9, Millen.
So it was a test in the post office? Was a test for your stress level?
I'd learned how to test where I feel stress in my body.
Okay. Okay. So it was you tested yourself by basically locating the stress area and how intense it was for you. You know what? I'm listening to you and I can't help but think all the similarity that what you describe with the issues that a lot of women and men have with around money, right? Because just like you said, I can help you to learn how to invest in the stock market. I can help you to learn how to invest in real estate or buy cryptocurrency, or even with a business. If you want to expand your business, I can help with that. But it all starts with a foundation, and foundation is always between our ears. It's our state of consciousness, and all the circumstances that we have in life, even though it's hard to believe usually, that it's all a reflection of the state of consciousness. So I really appreciate that you gave us kind of like a framework for what we need to pay attention to in terms of what is the foundation for dealing with extra weight and health in general. So what I would like to ask you, and that's what when I was promoting this episode, I said that today Fiona will share with us solutions. So if you could give us, I don't know, maybe 2-3 solutions that you would like to our listeners to apply in their lives and see how it works for them. Something that is simple enough to remember and to apply and effective enough. So if you could share with us, would be great.
I'm totally happy to do that, Millen. And it really is very, very simple when you look at it, but sometimes it's the hardest thing to do. Most women know exactly what they should be doing, but we find it absolutely impossible because of all the other things that are going on that we can't deal with. And that's why I help women to learn how to deal with those things. Of course, reducing your stress level, getting plenty of sleep. Your body cannot release fat unless you are resting. If you are still in the fight and flight mode, forget about it until you actually learn how you can actually rest well. And if you're getting a good number of hours of sleep, do you know that your body actually releases fat while you're sleeping?
Yes, I actually knew that. So yeah. I was kind of expecting this one because I've heard before that you actually losing weight when you sleep, if you sleep enough of hours, because your body is in a relaxed mode, and that's when all the release happens. So this is a big one and a great one. But can I just ask you like follow-up question on this one? So women who have challenges with sleep, like, is there something that you would recommend? Because having enough sleep, having like 8 hours sleep, it's huge. Do you have any suggestion? How can we improve the sleep? Like if someone
improve their
ability to sleep well, like if someone, doesn't have restful sleep, Is there anything that you could recommend? And this is just the first advice.
No, that's good. I mean, it's very, very good, especially certainly as sort of women go through the sort of the perimenopause or the menopause. Their hormones are all over the place, and we have a lot going on in this stage of our life, you know. So our brains are ticking over really quite a lot. I do help women learn how to meditate. And that's one big, big thing. And you have to know that the state that your brain gets into when you are meditating is 10 times better than 1 hour's sleep. 1 hour of meditation, I mean, most people don't meditate for an hour, but if you can imagine that it's 10 times more valuable than a night's sleep. Every time you sleep, you kind of go in these 90-minute cycles, and your brain goes through all sorts of different waves, brave ones. And it's only at certain points that you're actually in that really relaxed state, when you're not kind of like jittering about or your rapid eye movement, when your body's actually so relaxed that it can clean house. I talk a lot about fasting, because fasting really helps the body to release a lot of weight. The same as when you're fasting, in other words, breakfast is break fast. So the longer you can have the fast between your evening meal and your next meal, your body is cleaning house. When you do the second thing, my second tip, this will improve your sleep and your stress like 100%, but it is hard to do when we've been brought up on sugar. Sugar comes from carbohydrates, pastas, crisps, couscous, any kind of grains. There's carbohydrates in root vegetables. It's
dark chocolate, right? Dark chocolate.
Yeah, of course, chocolate. I mean, there's carbohydrate in most natural fruit and veggies anyway. But if I was starting somebody off and they were really kind of struggling on a lot of different levels, I would say, okay, we're going to go radical. If you're prepared to go radical, we'll do the radical way. If you're not, we'll go the slow way, and I'll build you up gently. But if you want to go radical, it's 0 carbs.
Meaning no fruits either, right?
No fruits either, because for some body types that has a massive effect on them. And what I've also found out with a couple of clients that I've had, they can't even take the stavias, even though that says no glucose whatsoever, because their body still reacts in a way that it is a sweetener. And you have to know that the fruits that we eat are like 10 times more sweet than 10 times sweeter, I should say, than they were in our grandmother's day. They've been hyperbred. They are just the most ridiculous sweet things you've ever had. And I know when somebody's doing a detox with me, and I ask them, do you want to try fruit? And they'll try fruit and they'll go, oh gosh, that is so sweet. I can't believe how sweet that is. And all these glands along here are just going, oh my God, because you can break any addiction, like sugar addiction, in 3 days. When you cut it out of your diet, you can break that addiction out of your body. Mentally, and that's why, you can, physically.
That's a good news. I didn't realize.
Your taste buds are completely renewed. Your eyesight's renewed. Your digestion's renewed. When I do the full cleanse and detox, 3 days. That's not long. That's a minimum fast that most people do, because it gets their body into the ketosis state, which basically burns fat. And let me just go into that a little bit more. And I'm going to come back to your sleep question in a minute. I am diversified, but when your body is actually burning fat rather than sugar, that's why I say 0 to find out what your tolerance level is. When you go into 0 carbohydrates, 0 sugar, your body has to start burning something else as fuel, and that's called ketosis. And then if you're not having insulin running around your body, you will be able to start using up the fat stocks that are in your body. If you can stay and maintain in ketosis, which means that you're taking fats in for your fuel rather than sugars, because we've been brought up on sugar our whole life, then you stay in that state, and then you'll notice all sorts of things heal up in your life. Your eyesight will get better, your blood will get better, naturally your weight will get better, you'll think better, you'll have more energy. It's just such a long list, Millen. When you reduce the sugar out of your system, getting back to your original question about sleep, you are not stimulated in the same way. And I've noticed with a lot of clients, myself included, we're just calmer. Our brains don't work 10 to the dozen. We're not overstimulated, and we're not craving more and more sugar. When you eat sugar, your body, your bacteria in your gut crave sugar. It's like the bad boys, you know, the bikers that have come into town, you know, they're craving beer and they're craving crisps and they're craving cake, because that's what they need, the bad bacteria. But the good bacteria, they obviously want all the natural things, you know, the vegetables and those kind of things. So, you know, you need to know what body code you're running on to know what is affecting you to be able to release the fat in your body. So that's, hopefully that's kind of giving you a little bit of an answer about
sugar concern or sugar issue is applicable across all body types, from what I understand, right? So that's a common denominator here. Okay.
Yeah, it's a common denominator, and our bodies, I don't believe, are meant to run on that kind of high input of sugar. Yeah. But as you well know, Millen, food is an industry, the same as the pharmaceuticals are an industry, and they're there.
And financial industry as well, by the way. The same with financial industry, exactly the same. Yeah, they push in products that people get addicted to, and they feel that they cannot live without them. It's like constantly, you know, kind of addictive behavior, supporting addictive behavior. And that's why, because sugar is so addictive, that's why, you know, all these products are filled with sugar, especially like, you know, cereal and stuff, that common food that at least in America people eat for breakfast. Okay, so
it's worldwide. And just think, if you were a multi-million conglomerate or whatever, and you were into sugar industry, and you were into the meat industry, and you were into the pharmaceutical industries and all these other things, and you had a massive population out there that you could sell to, you know, sugar's a great way to get the population on board. Not only does it keep them in place, it keeps them depressed, and it keeps them in great fear about what they can possibly do and what their personal potential is. I mean, that's a strong statement to make, but it's extremely true as far as I see it.
Yeah, it's a very, very strong psychological drug that is, you know, not something that we have to take, but that we want to take. That's the danger of sugar, because, like, for example, I love dark chocolate, love it. So, you know, I can live without the cake, but the dark chocolate is really tough, because it's associated with enjoyment for me, right? It's the same as wine. Wine is sugar as well. So would you say that everything in moderation, or not at all?
Oh, yes, we have to be decadent. We have to have pleasure. Otherwise we're in our stress zone. And I talk an awful lot with my clients about their thought process about what they're eating. If you think it's bad, hellfire, it's going to be really bad for you, you know? But I mean, you can, for example, you can make your own chocolates. I make my own chocolates, like, so it's 100% raw cacao powder, you know, wonderful coconut butter, and I don't put any sugar in there. I maybe put some salt, or I put shavings of ginger or lemon rind and all sorts of different things in there. You know, they're my treat, and I'm not frightened of taking fats anymore. I was for years terrified of taking fats, because that's the way I'd been taught, you know. Oh, yeah, I've got to have carbohydrates, I'm going to do some exercise. Just imagine all the things that we've been taught all the way through. We have to unlearn that, much the same as your clients, I'm sure, have to unlearn all the beliefs and everything that they've got going on in their head that are so stuck.
So Fiona, so you mentioned, I just want to get as much information from you as possible for our listeners. So you mentioned number 1 is sleep. Number 2 is sugar, carbohydrates, etc. So do you have number 3? Usually it's like 3 that you. I'm waiting for the third one.
I can do a couple of things. I can say about nutrition, or I can say about exercise, or I can bundle them in together.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's talk about exercise, because most people think they eat less and they exercise more. That's basically it. But depending what body type you are and how far down the scale you are and how, you know, bad things have got with your insulin resistance, You've probably lost an awful lot of muscle tone. You're probably really, really tired. You haven't got the energy to do exercise. For God's sake, do not go out there and go running. Don't do anything that adds extra stress on your body until your body is in shape, and your body will tell you, your body will go, oh, I really fancy running, or I really fancy skipping, or I really fancy swimming. Or exercise has to be a whole body experience, and for me, it's playtime. So like I'll get the skipping rope out, or I'll take the dog for a walk, and I'll go, you know what, I'll just walk unless I feel like running. There's no pressure. And I only run because I love the feeling of it. I love the agility. The more agile I get, the more I enjoy the feeling in my body. If I go horse riding, it's because I love the thrill of it, not because, oh, I need to run around because I've got to do some exercise to lose weight.
I love that you brought it up, because so many women that I know, like some friends and neighbors, they feel like, I need to be in a good shape. I have to do it. I really don't want to do it, but I bought this membership. I'm going to do it. So it's like pushing and pushing and pushing again. And that's not what body wants. And ability to listen to it, to really be attuned to your sensations and to your feelings. It's so, so important. I love this. Look, I'm trying to keep this conversation short, so because I know everybody busy these days. So what I would like to ask you, first of all, thank you so much for your tips, for your suggestions, for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And I'm sure that whoever would watch this would love this as well. So I want to ask you, if someone wants to get in touch with you, like what would be the best way to get in touch with you? What kind of website you would like to share maybe with us? And you could post this, when I will post this video, you can maybe post in the comments your website. So how can our listeners, if they want to get in touch with you, find you?
I have a website, and it's called FionaRobertson.co.
Okay,
very simple.
Okay.
And that covers everything that I do. That covers the online coaching that I do. That covers if somebody wants to come and work with me for an exclusive week or 2 weeks, I will take them through the whole process of getting their body into a fat burning machine. We go walking in the mountains, we go walking down the beach, and I teach people how to relax. They've never slept so much. So that's what the retreat is about. And the coaching, if you can't come, we do that over like a period of time. So everything's on that website. Everything's being redeveloped. I mean, as we all evolve, things are always changing, but that would be the first place. And you can email me via that website as well. So like Fiona@FionaRobertson.co, and I will get your emails, and I will respond as quick as I can, because I know how important it is when somebody says, damn it, now's the time, I'm going to do something about it. It's like when you decide you've got to get your hair cut. It's like you've got to do it now. It's not something that you plan, oh, maybe in about a week's time I'll think about it. When you know it, you do it. It's like, damn it, because that's your body telling you that you're ready.
Yes, and then, when you postpone it and you will say, well, maybe not this week, maybe next week, next month, next year, then ego gets on the way, and like, I don't know if I need this that much, and then kind of like you have other competing priorities, and you forget how important it was for you, how your body was telling you, screaming that, that's what you need right now. And again, I see so many similarities with this kind of topics that we have, so many similarities with people relationship with money, because it's all about fundamentals. It's how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your life, how you feel about your abilities, your capabilities, etc. So listen, love speaking with you. Thank you very much again. I want to repeat that it would be FionaRobertson.com website, where you can find all the information that Fiona was sharing today. And if you want to hear more wisdom from Fiona or from me, I invite you to join my Facebook group, Wealth Building for Powerful Women, and you will be able to ask any questions, and Fiona will be there as well answering your questions if that's what you would like to know, or you can post your questions in the comments of this video as well. And thank you again very much, Fiona. Thank you, everybody who is watching us, who is listening to us. And I hope we will see you again next week, Monday, the same time, the same place. And I also will see you tomorrow when I will be doing a live training here on this Facebook page. I will do some mini classes for you. All right. So thank you again. Have a wonderful day. See you soon. Take care. Bye, Fiona. Thank you.
Bye, Millen.